Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another scene from the living world of darkness, Rage Across New York. This scene will be set in the Sept of the Green, centered on the Seeker's Cabin, where Aiden has spent the better part of his afternoon in the company of a pair of Fiannakin that he has recently made the acquaintance of. And after a good amount of talking and then inviting them to simply remain, eat dinner with him and his friends, quote, quote, friends, his family, and having them linger about, maybe offering them drinks, chit-chatting on the porch a bit. It'll be about that time of night where the pair are finally departing for home elsewhere on the Sept. And it is as they are passing that 10 Point gives them a wide berth, moving well off of the kind of established little footpath to allow them to pass, and pointedly avoiding even so much as looking at them before heading towards the porch herself, still in Hobbit in the wake of her Twilight Song and her time at the Shrine to the Hind. And she'll approach the porch, looking up on Aiden there, and she will, much as she does with her packmates, move to the base of the steps, and there will rather promptly go ahead and roll down onto her back.
Aiden just sits there for a bit, watching the two kin go, smiling to himself, and he'll look down. You can get up.
And just as promptly, she's quickly back on her feet and gives a glance around the cabin and kind of cants an ear to make sure that she doesn't have one of her packmates about to hop out, because they do, in fact, prefer to see her stuck in her natural state. But for the moment, this is just easier for locomotion, particularly for when she goes about the process of kind of slinking up the steps and sitting on the top one.
You just nod. How you been?
I have been better, yes.
Oh, raise an eyebrow.
My talk with William White did not go well.
He'll actually do a smile. I suspect he was not at fault at all, assumedly.
Of course not, yes.
And what did he say?
He said all manner of things that I found infuriating, yes. And claims no responsibility for the hurt that he does to the very people he thinks he is working to save, which is piteous.
Right. Just nods. Well, you see my problem then? Every day?
And she nods very softly, almost sadly, and will finally cast a glance up and knows better than to make eye contact, but is actually looking directly to the Fianna's face. The closest thing to eye contact she's come to in a long time.
Looks kind of surprised. He's like, okay, you know?
Yef. Those people, that pack, they don't deserve you. I would much rather call you Raya than call you Yef.
Why'd you figure they don't deserve me? Kind of just curiously but cautiously.
Yef, a proper pack respects all members of their pack. They do not look down on them for their tribe. They do not look down on them for their auspice. And they certainly don't try to argue their role or try to do it for them.
We do have a lot of disagreements, we do. If I was any Arun or hell myself, but challenge for Alpha, but I don't see William White doing that anytime soon. And if he's Alpha, well, then I'm long gone. He just smiles.
I simply cannot fathom any point at which shifting positions within the pack could make it a place where you would be properly appreciated, Yuff, much less given any manner of respect. I would rather see you here among family, if you will allow me to aid you in doing that.
Probably would have to pay some sort of right to the Otter Totem, would make sense. For forgiveness and all that, but he kind of rubs his face.
I
I'll
have
have to.
learned the rite of contrition, Yuff, and I can guide you through speaking to your totem and making amends, perhaps offering a chiminage as thanks for the time that you spent under his care.
Just nods slowly. I'll have to talk to the pack itself. I'm not a coward at some point. I face my problems. And
Of course not.
pack, well, if this goes the way I'm expecting it to go, well, the Seekers will get Aiden Lynch by the looks of things. Aiden Lynch Krause, he kind of says, smiling to himself.
And she finally drops her eyes away to where they properly fucking belong, which is far, far lower than anyone's head or face. And she smiles softly.
Do you remember your mother, 10 Point?
No, she did not survive.
Do you remember your father at all, or was he taken away before you were given to him?
I am under the impression, Yef, that he was dealt with very promptly before I was old enough to remember anything. Assuming he was on the sept at all.
Nods. So did you have any family?
Not per se, Yef. There are those who were my caretakers, but at home, Metis are not family. Metis are, at best, a burden. This pack has been very kind to take me on, knowing that they will have to watch over me and to keep me on the proper path. They treat me well, yes. She says with like a slash mark across her face.
He just nods. At home there is no such thing as a family for Metis. But you're a good theurge. I can see why they value you, even if you are considered a burden.
I try to be worth the effort it takes to watch over me, Yef. If I were not, then I would hardly be worthy of my place in this pack.
Very true, very true. Nods. He just nods awkwardly, like, and looks around. I just remember my mother shouting at me the whole time.
Remember his mother what?
Shouting at him the whole time.
May I ask what she was like, Yef?
Smiles. Loud. Angry. And then when my dad died, even more angry.
I'm sorry, Yef. The loss of family is always trying to us and ours.
Funny thing is, my first change was when he died.
She kind of purses her lips in a stiff sort of way.
Yeah, he was shot in front of me and my sister, and I clicks his fingers. Well, it happened.
It was for the right reasons then, Yef. I hope that your sister... And she kind of trails off there.
She's dead.
And she hangs her head just a little further than she was already.
I think there's only one of my brothers still alive, Damon, but I don't know where he is. Yeah, he just says awkwardly, you know. I've been mostly on my own since I became a girl, really. There was Saoirse, but she chose the company of a Metis rather than me.
And at this, she takes something of a thoughtful expression because it seems like the strangest sort of trend for a Fianna to experience to have members of would-be Packer family favoring Metis all over the place. And she's just like boggling over it in a in almost awe.
The Sept is a strange place. He shakes his head.
Is Yef, and it has the strangeness is penetrated very deeply.
Aye. Do you miss home then?
Give me 1 second. There you go. All right. I miss the familiarity of. I miss living out further in the wilds, where there was less human contact, less Weaver influence. I miss
Aye.
being surrounded by Theurges, but here I am, surrounded by my pack. And perhaps living where it is easiest does not provide me trial enough to become better.
Just nods. Yeah. It's so different over there compared to here. People here are soft. Do you know that Metis is... should have been dead.
I was in the Umbra while it all happened. Yuff, can you give me the details? I've gotten bits and pieces.
He murdered a kinfolk because he was trying to find out their secrets about something. The Octena and all these people have been quite secretive and quite standoffish. He thought there was something wrong with them. And he went there demanding answers. And you know what Arun tempers are like. And he murdered one.
Didn't Mother Larissa Raya command us at the moot to leave them in peace?
Apparently he wasn't aware. Then he tried to lie to us. To our faces. And he still lives. And Jacob Raya still lets him live. Insulting our tribe.
We can hope.
Send him on some sort of mission. That's not going to do anything. He just shakes his head, you know.
We can hope, Yuff, that he intends for the mission to be the end of him so that justice is dealt and so that the pure tribes do not have the satisfaction of killing one of ours.
I think he meant the mission to be decided by the pure tribes.
Then their influence on his death will still be indirect at best, but it is enough to hopefully give them satisfaction. Jacob Raya is at times more clever than he is given credit for. Just because he does not wish to do the deed himself does not mean that it will not be done.
He's soft for Philodox.
He is, Yuff. Very soft. But I am trying to make him better.
Smiles. I suspect you are, aye?
And she does that kind of like shy smile down towards her hands. Jura set in her lap.
I think you and I are not so different in our methods, to point. No one suspects you. No one suspects you. He smiles.
Perhaps they will. I am sure that William White will Cry from the rooftops, my inequity.
I don't think so. I think he'll use it to further the cause of your supposed indoctrination.
If indoctrination into the nation is a bad thing, Yef,
That's the way he sees it.
then I shall hope that the people of the Sept are able to see that his fight is it with being as we are meant to be and doing as we are meant to do.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with this Weaver business. That'll open everyone's eyes to what William White's foolishness as he just shakes his head.
He confirmed that he plans to come to speak to the pack, to speak of
Good.
his vision, that he, of course, assumes he's quite special to have received, and that clearly no Theurge might have had an equal part.
So he thinks himself on equal terms as yourself and the other Theurges?
Thankfully, in Hamid, there aren't really many hackles to be spotted, especially not under that massive hair. But there's that slight little shift in posture, that little bit of extra tension. He has boldly said as much. Yuff.
In front of Jacob? Arrogance of him? Theurges are there for a reason.
I found it suitably infuriating. Yuff.
Maybe. Lean forward. Should let other Theurges know of his opinions. If he's so bold about it.
Perhaps if I speak to Rocks Your Socks, Yuff.
Aye, that would be a very good one to speak to.
Well, it is obvious that Tlate will be biased, as she can't decide whether to try to play the role of a beta or to act the part of a proper metis.
That's true. Well, Tlate is a very good Theurge. I'll not deny her that. Very good. Very talented. She's from a proud tribe. When there are proud people. However, William thinks he can fix her. And ultimately, it will be both of their downfall. And her sister, who is a very capable Galliard, and one of the only members of the pack I actually don't argue with on a regular basis, will drag her down. And it'll be a shame. For the nation will lose actual good guru.
It may be yes, but should such a thing come to pass, I sincerely hope that you will not be among them and dragged down with them.
Smiles at her. I always get out of everything. 10 points. You have to learn that about me. Aiden Lynch always gets ahead. One way or another.
I have every faith in you to do so, Yef, but I cannot help worry at times.
The worry is welcome. Not used to worry. He just says honestly.
Perhaps in this pack, you are simply not used to being cared for, Yef.
You make a point. Pampered with nice food, nice robes, hot showers, comfy beds. It's not something even when I was minor kinfolk, didn't even know I was a kinfolk, we were used to. Some good life.
It is a life that I know that my Ryas are welcome to share with you, Yef.
Well, if all goes according to plan, I won't just be a riot to you. Or a yaff to you.
And she looks... And there's no need for peony. It's just this sort of ease and relief kind of flood over her. Like, her body goes a little bit more relaxed. Her features, like, they reflect it. She's not looking him in the eyes or anything, so it's not quite as outrageously impactful, but it's very obvious that the fact that he is truly entertaining the notion has brought her some level of peace.
Smiles. I like it here. It's home. It's something I realized I've been running away from for a long time. Just nods to himself.
When the time comes, Yuff, even if you must close out your pack mates, do not sever your link with Otter if you can help it, until I have had a chance to try to aid you in making amends with the totem. Better to have no enmity, for all that Otter is not one that is commonly encountered, perhaps. It is still better, if only to spite those that have chased you away, to have them know that the totem even forgives you for your action and still looks on you with favor.
First thing I'll do is I'll come here. If that pack meeting that will end up probably having goes according to what I suspect, I'll come here into the cabin and I'll tell Banshee it's done. And you can, well, make sure that the Otter isn't offended for childish actions.
Even if worse comes to worse and you are somehow ejected from the pack without being able to make amends, with the rite of contrition, we should be able to make all even.
I'll make sure I don't close that Otter, he says, just nodding to himself, and he'll look inside. Right, I better go in. I need some form of fucking sleep. I've been entertaining those kinfolk all day. He'll smirk evilly.
I mean, honestly, she, if anything, looks kind of relieved that he's been spending that much time with them, because, let's face it, there's an uphill battle taking place there.
I know, they seem quite capable. I'm such a charming man. As he smiles to himself, and he just nod to her goodnight, and swagger in, bold as brass.
And Tempoid is left kind of smiling down at her hands, because, let's face it, the overconfidence is pretty endearing at most times. So she'll nod and call a good night after him, and once he's inside, we'll probably sit there for a couple moments more, and then finally rise, relieved, and perhaps in something of a better state than she was in the wake with her recent argument. And with that, I guess we'll say thank you, players, for playing and watchers for watching, and we will see you next time on The Living World of Darkness, Manipulation Across New York.